Get ready for unique, rare, and little-known treasures from the golden age of radio. You're listening to The Amazing World of Radio with Adam Graham.
Welcome to The Amazing World of Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Last month, legendary singer Harry Bellafonte passed away at the age of 96. And I was curious if he had appeared in any old-time radio programs. And I found an episode of the series Guest Star in which he featured. This one originally aired November 6, 1955. There were other old-time radio programs that I could not find them, but we do have this one. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Harry Bellafonte on Guest Star.
The United States Treasury Department presents Guest Star with Harry Sosnick and the Savings Bonds Orchestra, yours truly, John Conte, and starring Harry Bellafonte. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is John Conte, your host for Guest Star, a transcribed feature for savings bonds presented as a contribution of this station in the public interest. Save for security. Save some before you spend it all. Do it with guaranteed United States savings bonds through the payroll savings plan where you work or through the bond-a-month plan at your bank. And now to lead you to your seat by way of an overture, here's Harry Sosnick and the Savings Bonds Orchestra with Irene. And now here's the young man who in one short year has made the grand slam of show business. The star of the picture Carmen Jones, the Broadway and TV production of 3 for Tonight, and practically every other thing in sight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harry Bellafonte.
I'd like to do a big favorite in my repertoire, and certainly one that Millard Thomas, my accompanist, likes playing very much. A song called Scarlet Ribbons. I peeked in say good night. Then I heard my child in prayer, and for me some scarlet ribbons for my hair. All the stores were closed and shuttered. All the streets were dark and bare. In our town, no scarlet ribbons, not one ribbon for her hair. Through the night, my heart was aching. Just before the dawn was breaking, I peeked in, and on her bed, in gay profusion, lying there, lovely ribbons, scarlet ribbons for her hair. If I live to be 100, I will never know from where came those lovely scarlet ribbons for her hair.
Ah, Harry Belafonte, that was truly lovely. There's a real message in that song for a lot of people, isn't there?
I think there is, John. But I tell you, that message isn't anywhere near as important as this one.
Now, you wouldn't be referring to...
Savings bonds?
Yes.
You bet I am.
Good.
See, Johnny, I have a savings plan. I have formed that savings habit through buying United States savings bonds regularly.
Well, that's a mighty fine habit to get into, Harry.
I certainly think it is. And it's so easy and it's very simple. All I had to do is to tell my bank to buy me a bond every month and deduct it from my account.
Mm-hmm.
From there on, the bank does all the work. I don't even miss the money because really I don't ever see it. My checks go into the bank, and that's that.
Well, then you're a real dyed-in-the-wool bond-a-monther, too, huh, Harry?
I sure am. Other people who earn wages and salaries often buy their bonds through a payroll savings system at their office or at their plant. But professional people like us, that's you and me, Johnny.
Yes.
We usually find it easier to save through a bond-a-month or a bond-a-week system with their banks.
Mm-hmm.
And you should see how fast it builds up. I was really surprised at the end of my first year as a bond-a-monther to see how much I had saved.
Well, I know, Harry. I've done the same thing.
And you know something? It doesn't matter what your goal may be. You can't beat the savings plan, whether you're saving for retirement, to buy your own home, to put the kids through college, or whatever. For my money, that's it. And if I should need money for some unforeseen emergency, I know my bonds are just as good as cash.
And another thing, Harry, if you hold them to maturity, in 9 years and 8 months, they pay you back $4 for every 3 you've invested.
Not only that, if you hold them for an extra 10 years, you realize 80% on your original investment. That's for me, Johnny.
And for me, too. Now, Harry Belafonte, what do you have up your sleeve for a closer?
Oh, well, John, I tell you, for a closer, I'd like to dig into the bag of American legendary folk characters. And we sure produced a lot of them. We produced such people as Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and Casey Jones. But the greatest of them all was a man called John Henry. John Henry, he could hammer, he could whistle, he could sing. He went to the mountain early in the morning just to hear his hammer ring, Lord, Lord, and just to hear his hammer ring, and just to hear his hammer ring, Lord, Lord, hear his hammer ring. When John Henry was a little baby, sitting on his daddy's knee, he picked up a hammer, a little piece of steel, said, hammer be the death of me, Lord, Lord, hammer be the death of me. Well, John Henry's family needed money, said he didn't have but a dime. If you wait till the rising sun goes down, I'll get it from the man in the mine, Lord, Lord, get it from the man in the mine. I'll get it from the man in the mine, Lord, Lord, get it from the man in the mine. Well, John Henry went to the captain. Said the captain, what can you do? I can hoist a jack, I can lay a track, I can pick and shovel too, Lord, Lord, pick and shovel too. I can pick and shovel too, Lord, Lord, pick and shovel too. Well, John Henry drove into the mountain. His hammer was striking fire. He drove so hard he broke his poor heart. Well, he laid down his hammer and he died, Lord, Lord. Laid down his hammer and he died. Laid down his hammer and he died. Great God. Laid down his hammer and he died. Oh, they took John Henry to the White House and they buried him in the sand. Heavy locomotive come roaring by, says, there lies a steel-driving man, Lord, Lord, there lies a steel-driving man. Says, there lies a steel-driving man, hoo-wee, there lies a steel-driving man. Says, there lies a steel-driving man, Lord, Lord, there lies a steel-driving man.
Thank you, Harry Belafonte. And now let's listen to Harry Sosnick and the Savings Bonds Orchestra as they play Our Love Is Here to Stay. You have been listening to Guest Star, a transcribed feature for United States Savings Bonds, which today featured Harry Belafonte. The time for this program is donated by this station every week in the public interest. The Treasury Department thanks your station and Mr. Bellafonte for their contribution to the Savings Bonds program. Also, a special low bow to Mr. Millard Thomas on the guitar. Next week, we'll have another famous guest and more good music by Harry Sosnick and the Savings Bonds Orchestra, so we hope you'll be on hand. Meanwhile, this is John Conte saying so long and reminding you to save some before you spend it all. Save through buying United States savings bonds regularly, through the bond-a-month plan at your bank or payroll savings where you work. You just can't beat this savings plan.
Welcome back. Well, really did a great job on the music with a pretty typical savings bond pitch. The song Scarlet Ribbons was one he had actually recorded back in 1952. It would become a hit the next year when it appeared in his album that would spend 6 weeks at #1 for Billboard. What a great voice, and just how much emotion went into the performance, I think, on both songs. Though John Henry had a very different tempo and energy to it. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of radio history. I hope you'll be with us come May the 31st, where we will be beginning our summer series chosen by our Patreon supporters. And we will be presenting the Mr. and Mrs. Blanding series starring the legendary Cary Grant. The first episode will be released on May the 31st, so follow us on the Amazing World of Radio for that. In the meantime, if you do have a comment, email it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.